Welcome to the When It Matters podcast, brought to you by Kirkwood Bank and Trust. This podcast provides in-depth interviews with business owners and banking experts about how to better your financial health and be prepared for the moments that matter. I'm Kara Mayer, a loan officer at our North Branch location. Today's guest is Pete Jahner, president of Kirkwood Bank and Trust. Pete, thanks for joining us on the podcast this morning.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
First, can you share a little about yourself, some background, where you're from, etc.?
I'd be glad to. I grew up in Linton, a small community in south central North Dakota, and I went to University of North Dakota and got my bachelor's degree in banking and finance. I went on from there, and I consider it kind of had two lotteries in my life. I won one lottery by being hired by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation as a bank examiner in 1993, and I spent 5 years learning kind of what not to do in banking. At that time, a lot of banks were failing. We had the agricultural crisis, and we had a commercial real estate crisis in the northeastern part of the United States, where I spent a lot of time and got a really good education and background from there. Decided that it was probably time to leave that after I was traveling about 90% of the time, and kind of pick up some roots and kind of move back to home, and found my second lottery, Kirkwood Bank and Trust, and thought very small community bank at that time. Met with the owner and struck up a really good conversation with him. In 1993, I joined as a loan compliance officer and kind of made my way around the bank doing all things, including shoveling the snow in the winter. And just had a great education mentor from Jerry Willer, the owner, on how to develop relationships with customers and people and to see what their needs really were. And it had a lasting impact on me, and kind of moved up the ranks and centered in the commercial banking business side of it, and helped business owners for probably around 15 years. And in 2013, I was named president of Kirkwood Bank and Trust, and I hold that position today.
Awesome. Well, so as president of Kirkwood Bank, what does a typical day look like for you?
Well, I'd like to tell you it's full of a strict schedule, and I do this, and this. Every day is all planned out, but typically I have things on my schedule, but when I get to work, it all kind of changes. You kind of change with what happens throughout the day. I consider myself kind of tied to three different areas. The first area is making sure our team members are happy. I think we have 52 team members, and I see that as my primary responsibility to take care of their needs, to make sure that they're taking care of customer needs. So if we want to make sure that we have a very excited staff, happy staff, well-trained staff, and I just want to make sure I attend to all their needs. Secondly, it's to the customers. They're the ones that we're there for. It gives great satisfaction when we have a customer that drops a note to us and says, "I love Kirkwood Bank and Trust. Thank you for the service you provided. So-and-so did a great job." Well, nothing makes me more proud of our people when I hear that, and I hear that a lot.
Absolutely.
So it's keeping that going, and my third responsibility would be to the ownership, and if I feel like if you do the first two things right, the third one kind of takes care of
falls
itself.
into place. So obviously this has been a very challenging time for everybody. How has Kirkwood Bank provided additional support to their customers during this pandemic?
Well, I think the challenge has been is the delivery, but we have kind of overcome that with technology, obviously, through e-signature or online banking. Also, we've met people where they're at. So if we have to go to a business's parking lot to have things closed, or to people's homes on their porch, or through the drive-up, whatever avenue, whatever works for the customer is what we try to do, and I think that's how we've been successful.
Yeah, we've taken a lot of loan signatures through the drive-up, I know, and that's just been challenging, yet we made everything work.
And I think a big add-on to that is the payroll protection program, where borrowers got funds for the payroll. And our people were working Saturdays, Sundays, and to beat deadlines to make sure our customers were taken care of. We got a lot of new customers from that because we were meeting the demand and we were doing it timely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
some late nights and some weekend hours.
late
But
nights. Yes.
based on your experience in banking over all these years, do you have any financial tips or anything that contributed to financial health that you'd like to share, either business or personal?
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing that I see for customers is to have a plan. If you're a business, you should have a plan as to why you want to expand the business, why do you want to buy this piece of equipment? Does it make sense for you? The second thing would be the partnership back and forth with the financial institution. I think that's key because we're not always there to just say yes. We're there to say, did you look at that? Maybe it's no. Maybe no is the right answer, or maybe. And I get back into, we're not just a transaction at the bank. You need to have a well thought out plan, and sometimes that plan, the right answer is no. But if it is a well thought out plan, we love to be in part of that yes too. We certainly don't want to have you go down a bad road, but we certainly want to help you succeed.
Well, this is the When It Matters podcast. So what are some moments that really mattered to where Kirkwood Bank is today?
Well, looking back 27 years, there's lots of When It Matters moments. They happen every day. But I would say the brand new homeowners who just get in their first home and they're so excited, or someone who's retired, they met their retirement goals and they're living out their dream in Arizona, or the business owner who's expanded and took a big risk and made it. Those kinds of things are very gratifying over the years, just to see the success and just to play a small piece in that is why I like to do what I do and why I've done it for so long.
Yes, I agree.
So,
Where can people connect or learn more about you or Kirkwood Bank?
you can reach us at any one of our locations in Bismarck and in Dickinson. You can also reach us at www.kirkwoodbank.com or any one of our social media pages.
All right, Pete, thanks for joining me today on the podcast. I've been with Kirkwood Bank for a long time as well, over 10 years now. Just want to say I really enjoy working with you and our team, and we appreciate everything you do for us and for our customers. So, again, thank you.
Thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate everything you do, and thanks for having me on the podcast.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the When It Matters podcast. Subscribe for new episodes and connect with us online at Kirkwood Bank and Trust on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And for more information or to speak with one of our financial experts, visit kirkwoodbank.com. Kirkwood Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender.